Hello, everybody. My name is Philios DM, and many viewers heard this campaign intro. Your story starts in the Wandering Willow, a picturesque tavern made of white stone. The warm interior is filled with a buzz of conversation and a halfling bard playing a flute merrily upon a stage, with a few of the patrons dancing along to the music. The air is thick with the aroma of food and drink. The tavern door swings open, revealing Player 1. There's a reason this sounds familiar, and that's because a lot of the campaigns start with your meeting the tavern. There's a reason that is a trope of D&D or probably TTRPGs in general, because it works. It's an effective way to have all your players together. I'm here to go over other options. Some of the options some of these I've used. Actually, I think all the ones I've got listed I've used, and some I'm gonna put out for people to see. They're nothing new. I imagine people have probably done these before and put these out on YouTube or other things. But I just thought I would do my take on it. So yeah. Alrighty. So this first one is actually the campaign starter I did for my current campaign, Ashen Skies. So this was how I did it. This is how I started it. So, the players have been invited by the Lord or Lady of the Realm to their gala that they host every year. Why they were invited, they do not know, as the one who gave the invitation, because they were handed to them personally, they disappeared before you could ask any questions. And going to the gala, of course, not necessarily dressed in the accoutrement you would expect, because obviously, unless they are of the noble background and not necessarily from money. And so you have your players join together in that aspect because they've gone to this gala and they find out very quickly that these other people have been invited to the same gala by this unknown patron for reasons they don't understand. And for reasons that became apparent as it went on. So, to give you an example that happened in my game, when my party met at the gala, they very quickly figured out who was invited, who should have been there, who wasn't, essentially. And they were spoken to by the Countess Halia Wormriver, who thanked them very, very much for being there, but didn't give any reason why they were there. It became apparent what happened. So they stayed there for the evening, and then in the middle of the night, the undead attacked. Ashen Skies is a very kind of undead themed campaign. And the undead attacked in the evening. So whilst the party were fighting their way through the undead, I threw zombies at them, like first battle. But whilst they were making their way through the castle, they found the Countess's room. And in the room, they found a secret compartment where Countess Halia does her paintings. And her paintings they found to be exact sketches, paintings of the player characters. And that's kind of how I got them together, because there's this unknown benefactor who they just met for reasons they don't understand, already knew what they looked like and their names because of the paintings. And that led to questions and theories. And that was a very fun way to start it. That wasn't just you meet in a tavern. Uh, and that was a very kind of interesting start. But yeah, so I quite like the have your party meet up in a gala. Um, there is unfortunately a bit of a thing at the moment where every time my party have gone into a gala in my game, um, things gone wrong, which is a bit weird. It's happened twice, uh, but it's not their fault. Actually, no, it's not their fault. I was just there. But yeah. Alrighty. So for number two, so this is a one shot I did. This is and the thing is, campaign starters isn't just for campaigns. It can be done for one shot. So this one, You awake in an alleyway, surrounded by people you do not recognize, with no memory of how you got there, or those who are around you. You notice as you examine yourself and your surroundings that although you have arisen from what you assume to be an unconscious state, your bodies remain still on the floor. It appears you have died. So this one, I started it, and this is a campaign opener where the party are already and they are a undead, a ghostly entity of some and of course that resulted in some staging because they were a ghost. They could pass through walls. Not other people couldn't see them, but they could pass through walls, and they had to find out how they died because they had no memory. It gives you a very interesting start to a campaign because it already gives you kind of the first quest, the first plot in terms of how did we die, how can we come back? Whether it was they answered a bulletin board which is wizard request adventures for something dangerous, you will get paid essentially, or it could be something a bit more dark. It could be a bit darker. They were assassinated. Why were they assassinated? Especially if they play at level one characters, why are they of important? Why they are of enough import for those to grab them. And for my one, they were killed by a a Simic hybrid who was attempting to create mutations, create something. I know that's what Simic hybrids are all about, but this one was not doing it the way they normally do it, for lack of a better way of putting it. And they ended up murdering them for a reason because one of them was a reporter. They didn't remember they were a reporter until they kept going and went, "Oh yeah, I'm an investigator," and that led to some interesting things in terms of like phasing through things. Um, Kind of, they could phase through things easy enough, but in terms of trying to hold something, they had to do some checks in order to have that. And it led to an interesting start. It's not a unique concept by any stretch. There are others who have done this, and I guarantee there are others who have done this far better than I did. However, but that was a fun one to do. So I had this one is the group were invited to join an adventuring academy. This one, I had a bunch of very new players who either hadn't played D&D or hadn't played D&D for a very long time, and they were new to fifth edition. So I came up with a campaign idea where they joined a adventuring academy, not too dissimilar to obviously Fantasy High from Dimension 20, but less of the high school trope. And they were all invited to join this secluded academy that was in this place on this kind of island. I can't remember the name of it. That campaign was a bit ago now. But they were invited to join. And so they all were upon this airship that was leading them along. Through going through the airship, they found others. So they found others that were invited to the academy, the other player characters, as well as people who were just there for travel. So there was like an archaeologist thing who was saying about they go in there because there's weird things they found around the outskirts, and the city is old. And what I did there, so I always like to when I do my campaigns and when I do my campaign starts, I like to throw a fight in pretty quickly. So although this was so they went obviously across the airship, they were going along the ship to this academy to join it. And they were attacked on the way by sky pirates. They, which they dealt with quite quickly, and it kind of it threw them into a fight straight away. Especially in a different scenario, like an airship, like up. So it threw in a lot of different things they could do, and it made for an interesting start. So when they went to the academy proper, they were met by one of the teachers, who was a wild magic sorcerer. She had like burn scars across her face because one of her wild magic uh, went awry and hit her. and she went with them to the academy. And in order to kind of, because the hardest part about any starting any campaign is how are we going to get these people together? The players know they need to be together, but the characters don't. So I had them when they met, when they met at the academy. The the head teacher assigned groups to everyone, so like a spectral number appeared over everyone's head, and so everyone, so obviously there was a lot of people there. This was the start, and the number above their head signified the group they were in, the class, and everyone had a different group except for they were a special group where they had the ability to roam, so they could do their lessons as they planned. But they also had they could go off and do tasks in the city in quests to kind of build an understanding. So they were more the field work, and hence why it was a smaller team. It was a team of three, which all started with, and that made the campaign start off quite well because it taught. I was able to teach the others who had played D&D for a while the mechanics through story reasons, and then additionally, it made for kind of this is why they were put together because the head teacher was like, "You're together." It is, and some of these may sound familiar. Like if you played, I think it's Trails of Cold Steel. They have a thing where it's class 7, and there's only a few of them, and then they together, which is and they're like the field team. So that was kind of taking a little bit of inspiration from that. So yeah, that was the fun starter that brought them all together and it gave them a reason to be together additionally. And then it went off from there. Alrighty. The final one I'm going to do is this one is now this isn't one I've done, but it is one that I will do at some point. And it's they wake up imprisoned and they don't know why they're there. And this would fit very much for a kind of a prison escape campaign, or at least the first arc is a prison escape, and having them be in the prison for reasons that they don't understand. And they're all in the same sort of cell, they're in the same block, and they're under suspicion of assassinating a high standing figure. And putting them together, it kind of this I would say this is more for a higher level start campaign. So maybe not like level 1 to 2, but maybe like 5 to 10, maybe 10. Um, because it at least then they have some reputation for a reason to be falsely imprisoned, and it comes off. It gives a very interesting start in terms because you're confining them in a space, and then they're having to figure out how they're there, what they were meant to do, and how they escape. Do they escape by a prison escape, a prison break? Sorry, uh, or do they find out what they were accused of and try and find a way around it, trying to get out of it using D&D lawyers? Right. And that kind of gives them two ways to start it, which I find quite fascinating. And but you can also have it be a kind of a prison that isn't in a city. It could be like a flying prison. It could be a prison. So I've got a prison in my game that is at the base of a whirlpool, and that's very interesting. It's and so I would have it start in a secluded prison. You could go the Riddick route, which was the prison planet, or you could just have it in a city if you wanted to. And of course, that gives you a way to create guards, and especially if they do try and do a prison break, how successful they may be at that, and kind of starts off with the group being wanted, which could lead to some interesting hijinks, especially whether they even plan to absolve themselves of the crime, or just go to another country or another kingdom, empire completely, and then return when they're stronger of allies, essentially, and especially putting that in with the plot. So why were they taken? So that is a very kind of interesting way to start your campaigns. I will preface by saying, if you want your campaign to start in a tavern, start in a tavern. There's a reason that's a trope, and it's because it works. It's successful. But this is for those who want to take a different approach to starting a campaign, and this is just some of the ones I've done. Now, if you like the sound of them, please take them, and please let me know whether you've used them before and how you use them. If you like them, as I said, please take them, please use them. Then, if you would like in the comments, please give me some how you started your campaigns. It's always interesting to see how other people do it, how what unique ways people use to start their campaigns. So yeah, no, that is everything. Like usual, as I keep saying, I'm affiliated with Dakota Irish, which is a online shop for your TTRPG accessories. I'll leave a link in the description. If you use my code Philios and DM, you get 10% off your purchases, and I also get 5% of your purchases back. So it helps me. But I'll leave that in the description like normal. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Please give me normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe if you wanna. And that, yeah, everything. So yes, I hope everyone enjoyed, and I hope everyone has a good rest of your day. Bye.